Child, let me back up, make sure y'all know I got a top on, because it sure enough don't look like I got a top on. So, hey y'all, it's Ashley. We're back at Bookishrealm, and we're here to talk a little bit about why I give 1-star reviews. You know, as a matter of fact, hold on, let's cut this real quick, because I think I'm gonna need some tea for this one. Cut the tea shall be had. Okay, so let's talk a little bit here. So apparently the girlies lost their complete sense of reality. I probably a while ago now, I'm always late to the news, and it said that one specific, I don't even know who this person is, specifically stated that 1-star reviews should not be given to books. Child, what? Anyway, so this is not about said incident. This is not about whatever this person was trying to do, what point they were trying to make. That's not about it. I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about why I do give 1-star reviews and why I think 1-star reviews are important to my reviewing repertoire. So once again, this is about me. It's not about you. I'm not saying anything if you don't give 1-star reviews. I'm not saying anything if you have different criteria. I'm not saying, nah, this is just, I'm talking about myself here. This is not applicable to everybody. I just always got to put that preface in there, because there's always one who feels like they're being personally victimized by me, and I'm not thinking about it. I promise you, I'm not trying to victimize you. So here are my thoughts about why I give 1-star reviews. We're going to start with the fact that I consider myself to be a reviewer. Everybody who is a part of this community does not consider themselves to be a reviewer and should not be considered a reviewer. And that's just coming out of people's mouths. It's not an elitist thing. Literally, genuinely, like, there are people who are like, I'm not a reviewer. I read books. I talk about them. I'm here for the shits and the giggles, and that's about it. Like, I'm not a reviewer, and that's fine. I consider myself to be a reviewer. I want to professionally review at some point in my life. When we get to that point, I don't know. So I use a 5-star scale, just like everybody else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I give out half stars, depending upon how I feel. If I'm really stretching, sometimes I give out a 0.75. And those are books that I really struggle with reviewing. Now, typically, I'm just going to go ahead and be transparent. I don't give 1-star reviews very often. I have grown to understand my reading taste. And so 9 times out of 10, I am able to pick up a book and kind of feel like, all right, this is probably at least going to be a 3-star read. And typically, most of my ratings are 3 stars. When I start hitting 2-star ratings, it's because I just am kind of blown away by how disappointed I am with the work itself. Sometimes it is a, shocker. Sometimes I'm like, it's not really that much of a shocker. Like, was I expecting Kellyanne Conway's book to be a 3-star review? No. Was I expecting Zodiac Academy to be a 3-star review? No. But then I had stuff like Money Shot, which I was expecting to at least be a 3-star review, because I gave Volume 1 3 stars and Volume 2 was absolute garbage. So let's put this out here. If I give your book 1 star, it is because it is garbage. It is filth. It is trash. It is no good. It is horrible. Not psych, I'm just playing. Honestly, the reason why I do give 1-star reviews are typically for books that are seriously poorly written, not great horrible character development, horrible plot development, and 9 times out of 10, they're extremely offensive. I can look at a book that is not really done well. The writing is not that good. The character development is not that good. The plot, the pace, like, none of it is really great. And I probably will still end up giving it 2 stars. 1-star reviews for me are really reserved for those books that just have a touch of violence to them. Like, you wrote this book and you chose violence, and I just don't appreciate that. There are 2 examples that come to mind whenever I talk about the fact that these authors in these books chose violence and I don't appreciate the books or them. And so with that being said, they should come as no surprise because I have done full standalone reviews of each one of these. The first being the Twilight series. I think some of them may have gotten 2 stars, but for the most part, we were looking at 1 star reviews. And Twilight not only was poor writing, poor character development, just poor everything, they really were books that I considered to take to another level of offense, especially the messaging that was being sent out with, I think, a lot of purity culture woven into it, a lot of uncomfortable relationship dynamics between Edward and Bella, and the icing on the cake, very, very offensive to Native and Indigenous communities. And so for me, it just was a slap in the face when Midnight Sun came out, because it was like, not only were your first 4 books horrible, but let's add a 5th one on for size, because why not continue to piss people off and offend them as long as it's going to make you money? So for me, that was just kind of one of those situations where it was just like, there's no possible way that these books would have gotten anything besides a 1-star review from me. I mean, there should be no expectation there. And the second one, Life After Death by Sister Souljah. This should be no surprise. I also did a standalone review for this one. Life After Death was a huge disappointment for me. It was extremely offensive. It was so offensive to the point that it made me disgusted when I read the book. I felt personally offended in reading the book. So not only was it a letdown because it was a book that I had been waiting on for years, I think a book that a lot of us were hoping would eventually make its way into publication. And it made its way into publication, and my goodness gracious, was it just a fall from grace. It was horrible. Anything that you could think of that could possibly offend someone, I felt like it was just woven into the text of that book. And it was shockingly gruesome in terms of how offensive the book itself was, and how much I literally did not enjoy that book. So it was, if I could have given it 0 stars, I would have. And so there's much to be said about that book in particular. So the thing that's really weird, and basically what I'm saying here, is that I give 1-star reviews because it is a part of my review repertoire. Okay, I am not writing a review to intentionally just drag someone. You put this art into the world, and yes, it is your art, it is something that you're extremely attached to, but when you put something out into the world for people to consume, you best believe that at some point people are going to judge it. Even me putting content out here on YouTube, like, people are going to judge my content. Regardless of whether I think it's the best thing that I've ever done or not, people are going to place a value on it for their own personal consumption. And there's really not much that you can do about it. The issue that I have is when authors kind of make statements like this, because I believe that the woman was an author. Maybe she wasn't. But the thing about it is that reviews, and I can't believe we still have to say this because this is such a cyclical conversation, and I really didn't even want to go down this road, but I think it's a part of why I give 1-star reviews. Reviews are not for authors. So I'm always perplexed by this conversation of, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't tear an author's work apart. And it's like, but you shouldn't be reading reviews. Like, I know it's easier said than done, and I'm sure that people have the best of intentions and you can't help yourself. You want to go and you want to read a review. That's completely understandable, but reviews are not written for the author. It is not a response to you. It is not us communicating with you. And so I do get kind of twisted when people do tag authors. Honestly, I don't tag authors whether the review is good or bad. Like, I just don't, because it's not for the two of us to engage. I don't want to ever create a dynamic where authors feel like they should be engaging with me when it comes to reviews. I don't want to communicate with you about your works unless it's maybe an author interview, and then even then it gets kind of, you know, got to keep that very professional, which is why I'm very weary about building relationships with authors via social media, because I don't ever want to get myself into a situation where I feel obligated and subconsciously obligated to review someone's book in a positive light because we have a non-professional relationship going on. It just makes things a little awkward, which is why I said that for me, I do consider myself a reviewer and I want to be in the professional business of reviewing. And so because of that, I'm very, very kind of like weary of how I interact with authors, and I don't tag authors at all. Like I just don't, unless it's something that is promotional. If it is a review, I'm not tagging you. good or bad, I'm not tagging you unless it is something that it's, you know, or something that I've been sent for review and I've been asked to do so. And if it's not a good review, I'm less likely to want to follow through with it, because it's just that is kind of messed up. That's kind of jacked up, and I would never in a million years write a 1-star review and tag an author in it. But reviews are for consumers, it's not for the author. So I feel like it would be wrong of me to only, you know, rate books positively, because it's not reality. For me, it's a trust thing. I think that when people listen to my reviews, or when people come to my channel and they're looking for recommendations, they look for my reviews of books, there is a certain level of trust that is exchanged between myself and a viewer. Now, whether I'm always right about how other people may enjoy books, that can be hit or miss for me. Sometimes people enjoy what I recommend, sometimes people don't enjoy what I recommend. But at the end of the day, there is a level of trust, meaning that I don't ever want to breach that trust by not being authentic about how I feel about a book. Whether I love it and everybody hates it, or whether I hate it and everybody loves it, or I'm somewhere in between, or I'm going with the general consensus. I don't ever want to fall into that trap of being dishonest for the sake of not hurting someone's feelings when you're in a space where you shouldn't be to begin with. So I will always maintain the fact that I am willing to give a book a 1 or 2-star review, because at the end of the day, when it is all said and done, this space is for a communication and a relationship between me, other reviewers, other people who read, or whatever the case may be. It is not for a level of communication between myself and an author. It is disingenuous to say you shouldn't rate a book 1 star. Nobody deserves that. Well, if that person didn't enjoy the book, what are they supposed to do? Lie? So y'all just want us to be out here lying? I mean, people do it. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are people out here all the time that lie about books being good and they're really not good. I mean, not because they enjoy it and everybody else doesn't enjoy it, but legitimately lie. So we've been here, we've been in this conversation before. What y'all want us to do? Y'all want us to lie and to make up foolery about whether we like a book or not? Or to save face, like not say, oh, well, this book was just not for me. I didn't like it. I found this book offensive. It was a 1-star review for me. You want people to lie about that? Like, that's why y'all don't need to be in reviewer spaces, because then your feelings won't get hurt. I know that not being in these spaces, not being in these spaces, but not reading reviews, I know that's got to be hard. I know that that has to be hard. But see, when you tiptoe and you start looking, you're gonna find people who are not going to like your stuff. It is just the reality of the situation. Everybody is not gonna like what you put into the world. Everybody does not like my videos. Everybody does not like me. It is what it is. It is a reality of life. Whether you have done somebody wrong or not, whether you know them or not, at the end of the day, it just is. It's just reality. It is fact. And so for me, it's just a very awkward thing for anybody to expect anyone not to rate a book 1 star. Well, we're not going to talk about the fact that I'm drinking tea in the South, hot tea in the South, in the pits of summer. It's almost July. I don't know who the hell I think I am, but I done lost whatever sentence I have left. All right, y'all. So basically, I say all of that. I say all of that to say at the end of the day that I give books 1-star reviews because I am genuine with my ratings. I am genuine with my reviews. I operate on a 5-star scale. Unfortunately, there are going to be books that are just not going to hit for me, and they are going to not hit in very horrible ways, in very tragic ways, and ways that just are like not like really not that great. And like I said before, I don't genuinely give a lot of 1-star reviews. It just is not, because I don't come across too many things where I'm actively like, dang, like that's a 1-star review. It's not a common thing, but it does happen, and I do thoroughly explain like, this is why this is a 1-star review for me. I just found the book to be XYZ, whatever the case may be. But this is not an industry, from what I have heard from people in publishing and others who are more knowledgeable than I am. This is not an industry where your feelings are going to get coddled, where people are going to actively attempt to, you know, hold your hand and pat you on the back and be like, oh, you know, that person shouldn't have given you a 1-star review. I'm sure that it sucks. I can't imagine how that feels, putting your art into the world and then somebody tearing it apart. But that is the reality of anything. That doesn't just go for books. That's like saying no movie show or no movie or no TV show or music nothing is worthy of a critical review. And if it's not good, it's not good. Like I guess I just get so confused by like what the intention behind this whole thing was and why people feel like you shouldn't give 1-star reviews. I'm trying to see the other side of this argument, and I just don't see it. You know, whenever I have a discussion, I'm like, I can see kind of both sides and how things would play out. I try to be very open-minded to someone else's perspective, but in this, like, I can't budge. I can't budge on this. Like, I'm sorry, I can't budge. Anyway, in the comments down below, let me know, do you give 1-star reviews? And why do you give 1-star reviews? And do you feel like we should be told whether we should be giving 1-star reviews or not? I'm sure there's going to be some particulars that people are going to say like, yeah, you know, 1-star reviews are fine. Like, you know, if it's looking at the work itself and maybe not tearing the author down. And so there's things like that I definitely and I completely understand, where it's like, you know, be critical of the work, not critical of the person behind the work. I, on the other hand, have a tendency when it gets to 1-star reviews, I tend to be critical of both for my own personal reasons, but I can understand why people may not like that or may not enjoy that or whatever the case may be. So let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And I'll be back with another one soon. Deuces.